Hello, friends, and welcome. This is your host, Guillermo Vidal. If you're feeling overwhelmed right now by your past, your regrets, your health, your relationships, the world situation, I want to tell you something important. You're not alone. Even when it feels like the walls are closing in, like your story has drifted far from who you were meant to be or you wanted to be, you're not the only one walking through that journey. Now, here's what I've come to understand. When we think we're suffering more than others, we isolate ourselves. We start to believe that everyone else has it easier, that we're the only ones who feel broken. But look around quietly and really notice the neighbor who walks around with a limp. She might be healing from a painful loss. The friend who always cracks jokes. He could be hiding scars you can't see. The stranger who seems like they're well put together in every way. They may have had a morning full of tears for all you know. Our lives, all of our lives, are layered. We carry invisible battles, and the truth is, hardship is universal. We are never, ever suffering alone. Now I remember thinking a few years ago when all the security I had worked to establish in my life, my home, marriage, financial security, social and professional status, my relationships with friends and family, and my career, it all came to a screeching halt. And I felt so sorry for myself then, believing that the damage in my life was so unique, so tangled, so final, that no one could possibly understand. But then I started listening to stories of struggles from my friends and some acquaintances, and I began to realize one of life's greatest truths. All of us fall. All of us face loss, aging, fear, confusion. Yet some of us just learn to carry these things differently, with courage, integrity, kindness, calmness, and hopefulness. And let me tell you, that makes all the difference. Sure, I know, this is much easier said than done, but it is possible. As I began to overcome the shock and pain brought on by the change of life I was experiencing that I mentioned, I discovered Eckhart Tolle, the German-born spiritual teacher and author, and he taught me to think about suffering much differently than I ever had before. Tolle says, the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation you're in, but your thoughts about it. Now, I never had thought about this before, so I was used to judging things as good or bad. And I never questioned my judgment and what it was based on. I just thought that's what it was. What a strange concept, I thought. You mean to tell me that things are neither good nor bad, except in my own mind? Yet, the understanding of what Tolle was saying began to slowly emerge in me. If things were as bad as I thought, why did so many of them, in retrospect, turn out to be some of the most positive things that ever happened to me? For example, a painful job layoff led me to look for another line of work that would evolve into the greatest career passion I ever had and the greatest fulfillment I would ever experience. Or an unwanted divorce led me to reflect on my life and led me to make changes that would make me happier within myself and more comfortable inside my own skin. So the lesson to share here today is that everything that happens in life is connected. Everything you have and will experience is part of past, present, and future continuum. You cannot judge the events of today not knowing what the future brings. Now, how can this be? Everything is connected. Well, it was connected to get there and connected to a future we can't help create if we stay positive about it. Yes, we feel pain from the things in our lives that we lose or that end, but by concentrating on doing the best you can in the present moment, you can overcome the pain and regain a good footing in life. Now, I did suffer greatly during this time I mentioned earlier, but the realization that I could change the way I thought about what I was going through, it changed me. It turned my pain into empathy. It helped me stop competing with the world and start connecting with it. I began to see how we're all fellow travelers in this formidable journey called life. So today, If you're feeling stuck or alone in your pain from an unexpected event or ending, remember this. The people you see around you have not just survived, they become life teachers, mirrors, proof that transformation is possible. And if they can do it, so can you.